Excellent. And hold on just a minute.
It's my two skills that I'm really, really good at. This is one, and scanners is the other. I'm rank 4 in both of those skills.
Oh, that's okay. You guys can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
It's a definitely different
Yes.
sound quality.
Yeah. Sorry. Evidently, I don't know. My computer, my software evidently had a stroke and changed everything as far as my audio settings. So I was like, how is it that I was muted and you guys could still hear me? Like, oh, because it switched over to my webcam. Yeah, my voice or my noise canceling should be quite a bit better. So, yeah, so you are down there successfully working on realigning the drives. What are the while Sart is down there? What are the rest of you doing to start off your week? Cephas, what are you doing?
I am first making sure that my distillery is working properly and not in a dangerous manner whatsoever. And then I'll need to spend some time training my monkey, and then I want to go out and you know, generally try to care for the mental health of the crew.
Okay, so
yeah.
He's working on his still and his pet monkey. This is a valued employee.
My question is, where are you keeping the still? Are you keeping it in your med bay or?
Hell yeah, med bay's got all the cool tools and drugs and everything to really make my stuff pop.
They have stills anywhere in med bays.
That's true.
As part of the laboratory.
Yes, the alcohol's for medicinal purposes.
You can start making hallucinogens.
Well, it does have hallucinogenic. It's a fine you know, intoxicant that lowers anxiety levels and has a slight hallucinogenic effect.
So
it's really nice.
You're down in your med bay, checking on your equipment. I would imagine you're probably stocking your med bay because, I mean, of course. So one of the things about Deepnight Revelation is that it goes through every day 1,000 supply units, and not including cargo, but just stuff that's stowed across the ship, it carries 200,000 of these units. So in a week of jump space time, you'll go through 7,000 units, which barely even scratches it, right? But of course, over a certain period of time, you're going to have to resupply, obviously. But of course, you took off from Giikur Naval Base. The stuff is still being loaded. I mean, it is mind-boggling how much stuff is going to be in cargo containers and crates and whatnot. So I would imagine, in the process of also checking on your still and training the monkey. Maybe you're training the monkey to help you unload these crates and put them into their proper place. You know, sterile, packages of gloves and you know, adrenaline needles and all manner of stuff. So you're probably setting up your med bay.
Reorganizing to your own.
No, that too.
Yeah. I spent some time before we even launched, setting up the med bay and everything. I mean, while Sarda went home, I set up my med bay. So
that's true.
I'm kind of thinking it should be all flowing and going nicely, and you know. But I mean, if I need to be working on getting supplies and everything in, I'll do that. I you know.
Okay.
Whatever it takes. But you know, I like my med bay to be clean and sharp. I might find me an assistant somewhere that I can trust to, you know.
Certainly.
Like a lab tech assistant of some sort.
Oh, there's a ton of them walking around. So yeah.
Yeah.
What is Randolph doing?
Right now, Randolph is wandering into the power section because he thinks while Sauter's looking at the jump engines, I might want to be checking power just in case he needs something.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. So let's see here. Power. Where is the reactor? 13. So you're not too far from Sarda. It looks like there's a reactor on both sides and on 2 decks. Yes, 2 decks. Deck 2 and deck 4 each have 2 sections each for power. So go ahead and make a power plus intellect or education check.
So in case we have to turn it off and then turn it on again.
Yes, you know. Because that usually fixes everything. Anybody who's worked on computers knows that.
Yeah, 90% of the problems go away when you turn off the power and restart it.
That's right.
Security is a band-aid. Never actually find out what the real problem is.
So, Randolph, with your 8, you do find that there are some issues. Not huge issues, but there are some bottlenecking things going on where you can reroute power to a more efficient manner. And so that is what Randolph's doing. George, what are you doing?
George is checking out all of like the landing equipment, like, you know, because, you know, really, you know, grav vehicles, things like air rafts,
okay.
Wheeled ATVs that we might use. I'm kind of, that's my specialty, is like driving things around, things like small craft, not spacecraft, but I have like a 1 in small craft. I've got like a 2 in grav vehicles. I've got a 1 in regular vehicles,
small
but I've also like got a 2 in mechanics.
Right.
So I'm going to check out all the equipment and make sure that it keeps lubed up, make sure the oil doesn't pool in the bottom of the pans, that kind of stuff, right? I'm going to keep myself busy making sure that everything's always in working order.
So you're going to be down, you're going to be in one of the Ford hangar pods over here. And there is a number of stuff over there, such as there's cargo holds, cranes. They've got their own power plant, of course. There are staterooms and common areas. That is mostly for small craft flight crew. Now, if this were actually still a military vessel, that instead of small craft in here, the bulk of this would probably be fighters and things of that manner. And some of that is still held over as far as like the decor. But for the most part, this is all going to be for small craft. And of course, there's a full hangar, and this is more or less where they keep the ground vehicles as well. Now, one of the strange downsides is because of the limited amount of space, is that let's say that they have a pinnace, and inside the pinnace is a Scarier, one of the little Jeep type vehicles, but whoever's taking that particular pinnace doesn't want the Scarier, they want the Ardent Air Raft. Well, it's not that easy, because what they'll have to do is they will have to actually physically move the pinnace over to a larger hangar bay, which isn't impossible, but it's a lot of work. They then have to unload the Scarier, reload it with the Ardent. Then they have to physically move the pinnace back before it can launch. So the forward pods are a cluster of activity constantly.
George, would you check my gecko?
Hey, Chris.
Yeah.
Can I make an admin check so that our gecko and one of the small craft is assigned specifically to our sector, our section?
Yes.
So
in fact, I was just actually going to look
We also
at that.
have a scout ship.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll check on Randolph's gecko. Make sure that that's actually in an area where it's usable without having to move all the. I mean, we've got a week, so if I feel it needs to be moved somewhere where it's going to be more prevalent on something that we may take down to the surface, like one of those penances, let's make sure that the gecko gets moved onto that first.
Would it be loaded onto our scout ship? Seems like the scout ship's got 4 tons of cargo space, so I would think we could get a gecko on there.
Yeah, so the scout ship actually has 17 tons of cargo. And
That's a bigger
I'm
one.
actually looking.
The gecko's 4.5.
Is it 4.5?
Yeah.
The shipping weight. That's what I was actually just looking up.
My pirates group has a I Hate I scout ship. It only has 4 tons of cargo space. So
Yeah, shipping weight's only 4.5. So yeah, your gecko can be stored in the deck 1 cargo compartment of the scout ship.
Cool.
It will be there in
So
20.
we have a way to get around.
And yeah, so while George is checking on that, Jack can make an admin plus intellect or education check. Back over to the board pod. Nice. So yeah, your scout ship is moved into position, and it is in the starboard bay, number 11 here. Or I'm sorry, number 7 docking space. It's in number 7 because it is the bigger one, and it's in position. The gecko is loaded up. The only thing that you haven't done is, I mean, it's still listed as Scout number 1. You haven't given it a name.
Janis Joplin, weasels rip my cheeks.
Actually, I kind of like the idea of naming the scout ship Janis Joplin. That's.
How about Shit Rat?
Well, I'll give you guys some time to come up with a name.
Yeah.
So you guys essentially spend the week doing pretty much this. Now, your crew quarters are actually over in one of the central pods. They are right up here on deck 2. And the central pods are basically designated for missions crew. And so you guys are definitely a part of the missions team, but you are considered not necessarily outside the missions team, but you are considered special in so many ways. And so this is the organizational structure of the ship as a whole. And so, of course, the mission commander would be the Revelation captain and the executive officer, and then everything kind of floats around them. But you are a part of missions under the chief missions officer. In fact, I would go so far as to say that you guys are the chief missions officer.
Oh, cool.
Well, that would be somebody with the highest admin skill.
Well, yeah. Huh.
Now somebody with experience with real life speaks.
I have a 0 at admin.
So do I.
Oh, yeah. That's the truth, though, isn't it? It's like whoever can fill out the forms the best is the one who we're going to put in charge. Just so.
That's why I bought a wafer for it. I only have it at 0, but I bought a wafer to give me the bump.
Oh, nice guy.
So,
I got a wafer for mech and explosives.
I've got a wafer for it as well.
well, we'll just say that you guys, all of you, because I mean, I've asked this question before, and nobody could come up with anything as far as, who's the captain? Well, we all are. We're all captain. And so,
I mean, we've kind of been a loose knit kind of just group, and I mean, so far we've been able to kind of discuss stuff and move along,
Right.
know.
which is why I'm just gonna say you guys are, your group is considered the mission commander, and so you have your pick of staterooms. Now, one of the things about the mission pods is that you guys are each given your own stateroom, and these are not indicative of like an entire one stateroom. That's not how it works. These are sections that are sectioned off, but you don't have to bunk with anybody.
Sounds great. People need to be staying the fuck out of my room.
Right.
Monkey ripped their
Yeah.
face off.
That's right. How do you think
There's
he got his
no
face
reason
ripper name?
whatsoever to be in my room. No reason to be in my room or in my med bay.
So at the
No
end,
reason.
at the end of the at the
Our
end of the
med
week, you come out of jump. The time dilation blurring effect, of course, stops. You get a little bit of queasy as you come out of jump, and you are in the Habretic system. It's a solitary star system. Habretic, the planet, is really close. It is at 0.2 AU, but you are heading for the large gas giant that is 0.4 AU from the star, where you will refuel, and once they get to that point, then of course they will start not only to refuel, but they'll launch their pinnaces, and they are going to do a full sensor sweep of this system. Did you guys want to be a part of that sensor sweep? Or are you going to let the crew do what they do? Aside from,
They do.
I mean, aside from,
Stardust should run their sensors and oversee them. I mean, he's got to be the best guy ever around with that shit.
Actually, I want to shadow one of their normal sensor people. I want to basically shadow all the sensor people over time, so I get an idea.
Do we want to take the scout ship out?
I'm willing to let them follow the normal procedure. I just want to shadow. I want to be with one of the normal sensor people.
So it's interesting that you say that. So one of the things that you learn is that Deepnight Revelation has a sensor suite that is capable of scanning multiple star systems at the same time. So, for instance, you're in Habretic, and part of this, of course, they're getting their navigational fix. Part of that is scanning other systems, but it's not just scanning the location of the system, which is really all that's needed for a navigational fix. The information that comes in to the sensor suite actually tells you a little bit about that system. It'll tell you the type of star it is. It'll tell you an estimated how many planets are in the system. When I say estimated, I mean you're not going to know for sure until you're actually there. But it gives you enough information about the system that you know ahead of time before going there what to expect. And it's not a few systems. They can do up to 6 of these. The other nice thing about it is that this sensor sweep can do that, and the people that are running it don't really have to have any training in sensors. So all they have to do is be able to press the button and follow directions, and that's it. It will grab that data and bring it in. And then if something comes up that is of interest, they can then bring that to somebody like Sarda and say, hey, what does this mean? And then he can do a more detailed check on the sensors. But they are able to do this automatically. And it'll scan up to 6 surrounding systems at once.
So I assume the data it's scanning is several years out of date.
But they're sending out pinnaces, right? That are sensor relays.
Correct. And the reason they're sending out the pinnaces, now the pinnaces are for doing a detailed sensor sweep of the Habretic system itself, or whatever system that you're in. And essentially what that's going to do is, rather than just give you, like the map that we're looking at up here, which is 2D, because the pinnaces are out, they'll actually be able to do a holographic map that can be rotated and manipulated of the system.
Got it. Yeah, those are like I say, my main concern at this point is getting to know the different crew members that are being assigned to do this type of work.
Right. And
so,
yeah, there's a lot of ensigns and petty officers that are, doing that kind of data work.
So I'm just going to start my rotation. I'm just going to start shadowing.
Okay.
People. That's rather than do it myself. I'd rather shadow people and see who I trust, who I don't trust. Get an idea of how competent I think the folks are.
Give them the tips and tricks.
Yeah, if they ask, or if there's something, if I see they're doing something wrong. But I'd rather do that than show off and do it myself.
And now they are expecting that they'll probably be in system for 3 days.
Yep.
The rest of you, did you want to attempt to take out the scout ship? The Desenex. I like that. It's the RSS Locherman.
just because we're running tests and everything, I do think we ought to take the scout ship out and then put it back up. Just
Who has pilot?
Just to give it a whirly bound and make sure it works properly and everything.
Jack's the pilot.
Gabe's are, man.
I've got 0.
Yeah, I have 0. I can small craft, but
well, that still if you got small craft, it still gives you a 0 and everything.
Yeah, I know, but that's all I have. If somebody's got a better piloting skill, I don't want to be responsible for crashing the ship.
Let me check.
I think Gabe's character, right, is our
I have 2
pilot.
I have
okay,
0.
It's still under warranty.
Gabe's got 2. He said.
Yeah. He's been our pilot.
So
fly this motherfucker?
Who wants to take
I've
out?
got wafer for. I got wafer for navigation.
All right. So who all's boarding onto the scout ship?
I am.
Okay.
I'm going as well.
And the monkey.
Of course, I'm bringing the monkey. No one better shock it or slap it or spank it.
No
Do
spanking
not
the monkey.
spank my monkeys. That's right.
No monkey spanking.
And my main station on the scout ship is I guess I'm going to work the turret.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just what else is on here?
I'm just along for the ride in case we're going to land somewhere and got to use a gecko or something. I'm just literally.
Okay, so everybody but Sarda is going on this little junket, and Gabe launches the Desenex out of the hangar, and you set course. Where are you setting course for? Are you heading for the main world? What are you?
Oh, that sounds good. Let's make a quick trip to the main world and back and see if there's anything of interest. I mean, it's really just a test. We need to put the M drive through its pace. We need to make sure everything's working.
Pick up some movies and TV shows.
Yeah, we'll pick up some shit for Sarda. We're gonna find the sickest shit we can find.
Okay.
And Randolph is an engineering checking power, maneuver, and life support.
Of course, of course. So yeah, you set course for Habretic, the main world, and thrust 4, and you're only heading 0.2 AU. It's not going to take you too long.
Good. Yeah.
This is one of the things that I find in Traveler be the most difficult is, how long does it take to travel at such and such G? What? How was that too? Oh, I know why. I'm in the wrong spot. That's why.
You just gotta let the plot dictate that shit, man.
Yeah.
Fuck
I
it.
know.
You can narrate it anywhere you want. I'm not gonna cry too much.
Yeah, but now I'm curious. Let's see here. So.
Mhm.
That's not too bad. I mean, roughly at 4G, 167 minutes is what you're looking at.
And Sarda, you stayed back on the main ship?
Yeah, I'm monitoring crew.
Yep, he's going around getting to know the basically the sensor operators and of the bridge and the mission crew, and
Yeah, I
basically
figured
being visible as one of the mission commanders.
Okay.
So
anybody want to work our sensors?
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Scout ship. I mean, I guess I got 0 in it, just because of my comms training.
Yeah, I've got 0 in it too. I have turret 1.
I've got turret 2.
Okay, I'm probably better off than I'll just work the sensors and just.
Yeah, tell us. Get on it, Uhura.
So
Just
yeah,
joking.
you guys set off for the main world, and like I said, it takes about 167 minutes at 4G of thrust to get there. Whoever's working your sensors, go ahead and make a sensors plus intellect or education check.
Does the scout give him any kind of a bonus?
So
is there a computer on there?
It's got computer with 35 processing. Yeah, that's a beefy computer for a scout ship. Let's see, what's this? Sensors are advanced. So yeah, you can get a +1 to that.
Perfect, because that is an 8 plus 2 is 10 and +1 for the computer is 11.
Okay, so you pick up a detailed surface scan of Habretic, and it is ghastly, is what this is. So the planet is tidally locked. It is, one side is at the obnoxious 0.2 AU is always baked. The other side is always frozen. There are some, in the twilight zones, there is a bit of water that is actually present. That is that slush state between frozen and boiling. But it does exist. There is even some minor plant life that is able to grow there.
So there's a.
So
Okay.
the scout also, let me move it back over here. It also has a life detection suite, life scanner analysis suite, mineral detection suite, and it has deep penetration scanner.
Man, we surely should check out and see if there's anything special or magical,
Yeah,
George.
check for gold and platinum,
Yeah,
uranium.
we'll check for anything that might be magical or anything that might be just a simple anomaly.
Okay.
Yeah, run everything. Hit them all.
I want some
check that
magic
again, or
uranium.
can I?
God damn, I'm looking at this planet and I'm like, why would anybody want to live here? I'm
Well,
serious.
there's the terminus area. I mean, there's the area in between hell and.
Well, I'm looking at this map. I don't even see any resources.
Well, see, yeah.
I mean,
did they not give you like a paragraph or something on this thing?
no.
The wiki seems to
They
indicate
suck ass.
I mean,
the world is not yet taken off economically. Well, it's like no shit.
Right.
Population remains low for reasons largely unknown. You're like, well, it could be that it's a really inhospitable environment.
Yeah,
It sucks.
Yeah, even reading the paragraph that they give you on Habretic, this place is a dump. I mean,
Does have an imperial.
There's a noble estate on it.
Yeah, it says there's a noble estate. I don't know why, and there's a downport
And a town.
It must be.
And a downport in the town.
It has an
It
imperial
must be
scout.
some poor baron.
It has an imperial scout base.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's got an imperial scout base, and that's about it.
And it holds the estate of an imperial knight.
Yeah, which I mean, clearly he's not liked very well, because who else would?
Right.
I don't know. Maybe he was born here.
Yeah. Hey, we're just running our shit through its paces. If we want to hit these zones with some good scans, look for life. You know, I mean that would be the generally shit that we do wherever we're going anyway.
Right, and you are able to detect that there is some rudimentary plant life. Again, similar to like alpha, this is going to take the form of small lichen. I doubt that it's probably too hot for moss. It's either too hot or too cold for moss. But lichen probably, that's what's going to be growing in vast quantities in these green areas along these bands here. Aside from that, you don't pick up anything else. Of course, your life detection suite does detect higher life forms, of course, at the scout base and the small star town that is associated with it, and the baronial estate. But other than that, that's it. You're not even detecting any plankton or small type of life in the waters. Other than that, this planet is next to useless.
Minerals, anything like that?
No. And like I said, I was looking, and I mean, there's a lot of shit on this map, but I am not seeing anywhere on here where there is actual resources.
Okay. Well,
yeah. One of the things I ran into with when I was running, there were a lot of books that were describing planets in the Wildman cluster, and so there was a lot of information on Tanith and all the people on Tanith. But then when I actually printed the map out, you're sitting there going, this environment is they couldn't survive on this planet. It's too damn hot.
Right.
So it's, so I don't know. There's,
Well, and I've run into that quite a bit because a lot of these maps are generated. So I'm using Traveler Map.
That's what I was using with Tanith as well, and I'm sitting there going, this just doesn't match all the information I've got.
The problem that I've found with Traveler 5 is that it will create worlds that technically are impossible. Hebretic, this is an M15 star. At 0.2 AU, it would be like living on Mercury.
Like right here, it says a resource.
Is that a resource?
Yeah. So the average. So Tanith is described as being all these humans and everything is populated, but the average daytime temperature is 432 degrees Celsius.
Well, I guess they're getting. I guess they've got a really high air conditioning bill.
So I just I threw out. I'm like, I'm not going to worry about what the map. The Traveler map world map says.
Yeah,
I'm just going to go.
I guess, yeah.
To make it far more hospitable to match all the information that all these modules and stuff are describing the world.
As hot as it is, there would be some metals that are even molten.
I'm pointing them out to.
Yeah, he's found a couple.
We got a couple.
So there is some resources on the planet. You are detecting. Most of these are going to be molten. Magnesium, aluminium, if you're from England.
You're looking for
iron.
Bauxite. Yeah. Aluminum wire is called bauxite.
Yeah,
right.
This is just cool shit to add to the database and the report. if nothing jumps up to to make George go holy fuck, then
We're not finding any heavy metals
Yeah.
like gold or platinum or
I would think with
uranium.
it looks to me like, looking at this map, it looks to me like whatever was there was probably already mined out. Probably fairly early on.
Well,
But yeah, so you have successfully scanned Habretic, and are left scratching your head as to why anybody would want to live here. But live here they do. Scouts are strange people. So, is there anything else in system that you want to do? I mean,
well, we've got that enhanced signal processing. So, I mean, let's see if there's any signals floating around here that are abnormal.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. Yeah, who wants to make the comms plus
I have
education
comms
or
1.
intellect?
I have comm 0.
All right. Well, I guess my comms 1 with a 1. So that'd be +2 total. I think that one is the one. Unless somebody has more. Then here we go. That's an 11.
Okay. So
And then I'll probably get some bonuses from the advanced signaling processing units too.
Yeah, so with the enhanced signal processing unit, you do pick up some comm chatter between 2 scout ships that are making their way from Habretic to the jump diameter, and the chatter that you pick up between the 2 of them, they are talking about Jodani fleet movements.
Well, I got to go ahead and record that conversation.
There is some concern between these 2 scout ships, between the crews of these 2 scout ships, about these Jodani fleet movements. It seems that there is a fleet of Jodani ships that are moving towards the Imperial border forward.
That's definitely shit that needs to be reported in. I mean, do you think we should engage, talk to these people? And
do we have encrypted comms?
I mean, if you've got a enhanced signal processor, I would say probably. I mean, you don't have anything like a countermeasure suite, but encrypting comms isn't.
Because we wouldn't want to broadcast this without some kind of encryption.
you would have the capability of sending an encrypted
thing back to the Deep Night Endeavor. Yeah, well, we'll have to send that in. They're talking about massive Johnny fleet movements moving right up to the Imperial border.
One of the things to keep in mind is that this is between 2 scout ships that are actually leaving the base. So whatever they're discussing, they probably have already reported to the scout base. But this is just what you're detecting between these 2 ships is more or less rumor, gossip, kind of chit chat between two captains. But they both are confirming that they have seen or are aware of information that has come into their possession that there are a sizable Jodani fleet is moving to systems on the border with the Imperium.
All right, well, that's fairly noted. We're leaving the Imperium, so I mean that's really someone else's problem to deal with, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're talking, when I say the border of the Imperium, you're talking about coreward of the spinward marches.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, that was fun. I don't see a reason to fuck around.
So, Jack, go ahead and make another piloting plus dex check to dock this ugly monster, the Desanax.
Whoa!
Wow, that
that's pretty good.
Okay, so Jack makes it look easy and puts you guys right back into the hangar. And
bootleg. Does a little bootleg at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even though that the scout chatter is probably known intel from the base, and we've probably already done that, it's still good that I report in, all of our shit, all of our scan finding, the scout talk, chitter chatter,
Gotcha.
as far as rumors and gossip. I mean, if we're all just doing standard, blah blah blah, this is what we normally do, wouldn't we report in all of our shit?
Yeah. I mean, that would be standard procedure. You would
Yeah.
report everything that you found. And so
I'll try to add some good flavor adjectives and stuff in there to really, make it a thrilling report.
So you dock and secure the Destinex, and once again, after about this took you the better part of 2.5 days, you are able to dock right before Revelation is ready to jump again, and they jump this time. It is a normal jump. Seems to be no issues. You guys have dealt with that, and at the end of a week, you end up in the Brytsee system. And pretty much same procedure happens again. You get in this data showing the Brytsee system. There's a lot of gas giants here. Again, Brytsee itself is a terrible, terrible planet that nobody should ever want to live on.
No.
There's really no need for spending any more time here than is necessary. They just go through the standard procedures of scanning the system and refueling and getting back out again. Just waiting to see if something interesting happens.
There's another noble estate in the middle of the frozen area.
Right? Yeah.
Well, some like it cold.
Yeah.
Well,
minus
just
3, minus
Isn't the down
minus
part, the
250
stone right beside the
degrees
frozen
K.
area too,
I mean,
beside of town?
It's
100
funny
because
degrees K.
it's described as having 90% of its surface covered in ocean, and
Yeah,
there's
it's frozen.
It's frozen ocean.
and that people live in underwater colonies.
You know what? We found Elsa's castle.
Right there. Yeah.
There's 10,000 people that live on this planet.
Yeah, they would be living in the small habitable bands once again. And after 3 or 4 days, you jump again, and after the end of a week, you come to Hishumaki. Now, Hishumaki, they do have an up port, and as I think they also have it. Yeah, they do. They have a down port right here. No real reason to go there, but there is a spaceport, and the crew, the captain of Endeavor, of course, at Hishumaki, orders them to dock. The crew is able to dock the ship with little to no problem. And is there anything now? Hishumaki is going to be one of the last spots before you get to Tobia that you will be able to purchase any additional goods. Now you've been
an ag
in
world, so refilling our food supplies would probably make sense here.
Yeah. You can refuel or refill your supplies back up to the max if you want. You could even now what they said was, and let me look at the stats of the ship.
Yeah, it's an ag world that has a near perfect environment for producing quality food stuff.
If you wanted to, so there's 149 tons of cargo space on Deepnight Revelation. For every ton, you can put 100 supply units into cargo space.
I'd like to go ahead and get me a hydroponics setup and see if I can get some of these good fruits and vegetables, berries, and shit like that from this planet. Get them growing so we can have a a variety of food.
Yeah, there's hydroponics
And,
aboard. You don't even need to buy a hydroponics unit. There's hydroponics already aboard Revelation. That's part
hell yeah.
part of the plan. So yeah, you can buy seed pods. Well, what I'm saying is that so the ship itself can hold 200,000 units in stowage. That's not including cargo space. For every 1 ton of cargo space, that would be equal to another 100 SU. So you could, and this is, of course, is charged to Deepnight Exploration Incorporated. It is your choice how many units you want to fill the cargo bay with.
See, this is another one where when you go to the world map, it says that the average temperature gets up to 467 degrees Celsius.
Seeing at 0.2 AU for that size of the star, I would expect that, to be honest.
I'd expect more than that.
467 degrees
I think Mercury's like 900 degrees Celsius.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is an agricultural world.
Yeah, let's
You wouldn't think an agricultural world would get to be 467 degrees Celsius.
Right.
Yeah.
See, and this is one of the problems that I have with some of these maps that are generated from Traveler. Well, it's one of the problems that I have with the maps that are generated using Traveler 5 system, because some of the stuff is not possible.
Well, let's get, while we're here and we have an option and they're talking about charge whatever to the Deepnight Endeavor, let's go ahead and get like 20 tons of
hops. 20 tons of hops.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, just
And barley. We're going to need some barley too.
general
You need the grain as well.
fabrication supplies, so that way we can keep the maybe 20 tons of that and another 20 tons of as they were saying, different flavors and things like that for foods, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, hops is only a preservative and flavoring. You need the other stuff.
You need the grain.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a
wheat or barley
still
or
running
whatever
and
you
stuff,
wanna
but if we've got a ton of minerals, resources, and things like that here in this system, and we can charge it up, and we've got the cargo space, then fuck it. I mean, hell, this is stuff we can use for trade where money is not an option.
That's true. Or you can use your fabrication unit to just make the item if you need to.
Right, but I mean, we don't know necessarily. We might need to get favor with a village or a group of people or
Should we
anything.
get a ton of beads, just regular old glass beads.
I mean, yeah, we could get a kind of trinkets and things like that. I mean, if we're going to go into a real primitive thing, little toys and flashy goodies and stuff like that, a few tons of that, just we really food products and all that. I mean, if we got most of that with the different foods of the agricultural planet that is on fire, I mean, provided we had preservatives and things like that, we could really go. I mean, if they begin to get perishable, then I mean, we don't want to overdo it.
That's what the still's for.
Exactly.
That's right.
But
you
yeah,
do it, you
I
throw
think
it in the
whatever we
still.
can get in.
I would like a ton of Bordeaux and a mind control unit.
Well, I've got good news for you. So you're talking about what, 40-50 tons worth of additional supplies is what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, good mix on that. And
Okay.
I mean, that's basically all I think of that this planet would really have that we wanted or could come in handy.
Just think what a good age 20-year-old Bordeaux would be like.
So this is a map of going from Hishumaki to Tobia. And as once again, you can see that is quite the long journey. Now, of course, you're jumping 4 parsecs at a time. So
we're going to drive by my hometown.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, my plants is run by Duke of
Deneb? Yeah.
Dimby.
Oh, Denby? Yeah. So, yeah, the rest of your journey to Tobia is you know, long, and but it's not the constant. It's not the fast pace that you were doing during the Shakedown cruise. The captain of the ship has come to the decision that the Shakedown cruise was successful. You identified problems with the power. You identified problems with the jump drive. You have set up a procedural system. You've tested things out. The ship should be ready at this point to make a normal transit to Tobia, and this takes I want to say probably about the better part of 7 months for you to reach Tobia. But it is fairly uneventful. In fact, it gets to the point where, thank God that you're still in charted space, because if not, you've got people from the mission crew that are scientists are coming to you that at the end of 7 months, and they're like, we're bored. We need stuff to do. And during that time, it is everything that you could do to say, well, hey, there's a quasar over there. Point the telescope that direction and tell me what do you find out about that. But these guys are basically, they're scientists. They're bored. They don't, and doing system scans is not something that's going to fix their boredom. But finally, at the end of 7 months, you have reached Tobia, and when you reach...
Bocephus is sitting there going, I'm sorry you guys didn't bring your own monkey and aren't working with hallucinogens. that would definitely make your trip less boring.
That's right.
I'm sharing my brew with the crew, with us. We can sit back and get wasted, and I'll have different flavors that I come up with, because now I've got different spices and stuff to...
So one of the things that comes up in this is that not only do they get bored, but because they're bored, and this kind of goes the ship wide, is that will build fatigue, and so it becomes you become aware of the fact that during this trip, it's not so big of an issue while you're in charted space, because it's easily fixed. Where it will become an issue is when you're out of charted space. How do you defatigue the crew? And that could be something as simple as throwing a party and plying them with liquor that you've made with the still. It could be that you traded something with some aliens that you found, and they would be considered luxury foodstuffs. That can defatigue the crew. So there are little things that you can do to stave that off, but it's going to constantly be a pressure on the crew, and that fatigue score will increase depending on how much pressure that is put on them. So, like I said, it's not so much of a problem here in charted space, but it's going to be an issue when you get out into deep space. But when you arrive at Tobia, there is a great amount of fanfare. In fact, you are all invited by the Duke of Tobia to a what he refers to, it's not through a messenger. This is from the Duke of Tobia himself. He is in hologram on your console, inviting the command crew of Revelation to a what he refers to as a small gathering to honor this momentous occasion and the start of this historic journey. And of course, while Revelation is in the Highport dock, engineers will be going all over the ship, and you will be shuttled down to the surface of Tobia to the palace, where you will there will be a concert that is thrown by the video star Tisney Zazzle and the current ruler of Salif. And you will be invited to dinner and a small gathering at the Duke's Palace. Once again, of course, there will be massive photo ops, and TNS news is all over the place. They will want to interview everybody. But we will pick that up next week, now that we've got the boring part of the journey kind of out of the way. We will pick up next week with you going to a social function, a small gathering, as the Duke says.
250 people.
Yeah, you might be surprised at what a small gathering for a Duke is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
we'll keep the invite list down to only the important people of the sector.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to come up with ways with fight this fatigue and all of that. So
key parties.
Well, I mean, I could maybe run a. Maybe we could run
grow some weed.
That'd do it.
Well, we could maybe do a fight, and see if we could get some fighters that box or do some kind of UFC stuff or whatever, and run some brackets and give
we
somebody.
Just let the Marines or the soldiers go at it once in a while.
Well, I mean,
tag team.
You gotta crown a king and have an event with lots of fights.
Yeah, I was actually thinking the same thing. I was thinking that I could run like trainings with the crew, like melee trainings of some sort. I don't have that high of a skill, but just kind of to fight off boredom for something to do.
That's
for a while.
Excellent idea.
To run classes and set up trainings, and then have, like you say, a bracketed kind of ship-wide tournament kind of thing.
Well, and the other nice thing about that is that, of course, over time as fatigue builds up, there will be certain animosities that are created between crew, whether it's a lower rank individual being pissed off at his supervisor who's higher rank. Having a boxing match and training will help alleviate that as well, because that'll give you a chance to take it out in the ring.
You could always play laser tag with stunners.
Hey, that sounds like a good time.
I've heard. So I'm assuming the sensors people are part of the flight crew. They're under the with the pilots. It'll be pilots and sensor operators. I would imagine under flight.
I can tell you. Let's see here. Crew. Flight division. Pilots, ship. Subordinate craft, pilots, astrogators, sensor operators, and officers. So yeah, they're part of flight division. Then there's the engineering division. Operations division is probably the broadest. It's subdivided into 3 general areas: tactical, deck, and pursers departments.
All right. So in terms of the folks that I've been shadowing, I'd be kind of curious to keep track of like which ones sort of stand out as incompetent or people I like or people I don't like, that type of thing,
right.
In terms of like.
And so, because
get a feel for who.
This is really, so Tobia is your second to last chance to get rid of and cut the dead weight of people that are either incompetent or just simply not really doing their jobs. So that will require some admin roles. To basically see who you want to put on the chopping block. The last place that you'll be able to do it is at Demnon, because there was a ship already sent out there. They have set up basically a portable
relay.
dry dock for you to dock, and that's where Revelation will be refit before you really start your mission.
Because if I'm interacting with one and they seem to be particularly incompetent, I'm probably hitting them with some telepathy to try to figure out what the hell's going on here.
Right.
Like, are they just dumb, or are they intentionally being stupid? Yeah.
Hey, if you ever want me to come do a mind probe or something for you, I will. I'll probe anybody you want, any way you want me to do it.
I figure. I figure I'm looking at.
And then he'll
That's why we
pee
got
all
the
over them.
Yeah,
I'm an all-encompassing, doctor. I do the mind and the body and everything.
So
Well,
The mind.
I'm running a +1 for telepathy attempts. So for surface thoughts, that's an 8, right? So that's
Yeah.
I'm not horrible.
yeah, I mean,
That's a 50-50.
Yeah, so I mean, you would still need to make an admin check because there's paperwork and forms to be filled out to to fire somebody. But the last thing that we'll do before we close up this week, everybody gets 1 XP point that you can place wherever you want. You just place it before we get together next week, and
Going into sensors, since that's what I did tonight.
there you go.
That was easy.
Speaking of which, just kind of on the same note, and maybe I'll bring it up again next time, but like that shakedown Sarda is doing with the crews, I was thinking maybe George and I could do that with like security personnel.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Like
Definitely.
I don't quite have the social skills, but he could keep an eye on, the what do you call it, the underground or whatever you want to call it, the shadow markets not getting that too
Right.
out of whack.
Yeah.
Nobody getting too crazy and
Right, and you guys are already aware, you were aware even before you left Giikur, that there is already some kind of black market being set up on the ship.
yeah.
You know that there's a number of hidey holes where contraband has been stashed, and the command crew is pretty much aware of it, and
Yeah.
the captain is kind of looking the other way.
Right.
I'm gonna raise my.
You just leave it note.
Gabriel and I have probably the best skills to do that too. I've got even Streetwise 2. I've got that Investigate 2 wafer jack that fits into the side of my head.
Yeah.
We're good.
I wanted to keep a real close eye on accountability of weapons and things like that, but I know George has more of the social skills to make sure
I have
people
no
don't get
social
too
skills.
sideways or
So
under their
that
mind.
here before we close out, this is another question that we didn't really address. What is so the standard rule on the ship is that all weapons are stowed at all times. What is your ruling on that? Do you want people to be able to walk around with sidearms? What do you like the security crew when they do their security walkthrough? They are armed usually with one of the shotguns and a sidearm. But I mean, what is your feelings on that the rest of the time?
There should be a secure lockdown method. You got to sign something out and you got to return it, just like you were a cop on the job,
Right.
or military police as well too. You have to sign it out. You got to return it out. Otherwise, things should just be locked down. Like there should be people that are accountable for that. Personnel.
Okay. I mean, because like you guys have your own personal weaponry, you could rule. Well,
Which
part of the
should
mission.
be locked down while we're on the ship.
Okay, so you want everything to be locked down while you're on the ship.
Well, I would say ideally you want them to use stunners on the ship, right?
Yeah.
I mean that
'Cause
stunners
It's
and
not like we have infinite crew, so it'd be best to just knock a shithead out for a while instead of killing him.
Yeah, typically stunner and like a sword of some sort.
yeah,
Cutlass or-
a
that's-
cutlass.
pretty
Yeah,
common.
yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
common for.
I'd go with stunner
Ceremonial.
in a blade.
Yeah.
I'd probably keep a piston fist around.
Yeah,
Just for Saturdays.
Well, I mean, no.
for the
I'm just-
boxing ring.
That's
talk
why
to a
we
lot of
got the
people,
monkey.
Yeah, if somebody gets out of control or something and needs to be, subdued, being able to knock them real good, all that.
Yeah, piston fist will do it. Yeah.
The one thing to keep in mind, if you've got the expandable shield, it can actually be used as a weapon as well.
That's
It only
true.
does a D6, but
I do have one, but for the most part, all my weapons will be put up and stowed away. I put my one on cybernetics because we have people with cybernetics, and
Right.
0 to 1 might be the difference between somebody making it or not.
Right.
So, Yeah, that's where I spent my one.
I put it in admin.
I'm putting mine into investigation.
Excellent.
Investigation's a good skill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I already had it with 0, so I raised it from 0 to 1.
Yeah, I've got the wafer chip too. If you want it for investigation too, that I've been using.
Yeah, I didn't buy one of those.
Well, you can
We
copy
found them.
software.
So I've got forensics 2, investigate 2. I've got an extra electronic computer 2 that I don't need. I already have electronic computers.
I've got a huge quantity of them. I bought all the electronics, all of the engineering.
He's got a library of thumb drives that he just keeps plugging into his neck.
I've got Medic 2, Survival 2, Admin 2, Advocate 2, Mechanic 2, Broker 2.
You keep them all on like a necklace, and you just kind of rotate them in the back.
A keychain. He's got a keychain with all these different USB drives on it.
I pretty much keep them in my room. I don't necessarily need them that it's that often.
He goes planetside, you guys are doing something for like broker. Oh wait, I got something for this, and he pulls out this keychain. Hold on, let me put this in.
I'm probably walking around with Admin 2 and Steward 2 in.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, probably. Yeah, you probably are. I mean, the ship's got a total of 3 stewards standard, and which seems woefully inadequate for that number of people. So yeah, you probably have steward, and I would think that as part of command crew, you're probably as part of the mission command, you would want admin.
Yeah, but I can swap in something else if it comes up.
Right.
The main thing was that if I ever needed to work comms or something like that. But I bought these back before we even got on this ship. I got these when we were flying around, and who knows if I might need to operate comms, and so.
Right.
Yeah. I've got drone operator one for my spy bot.
Okay.
Where it's a bigger pain is if you're going to get into a vac suit, because you can't swap out your chips once you get in the vac suit.
Right. No neck access.
Yeah, you're stuck with whatever you slotted. So
you keep a personal computer slotted in and just run your slots through the personal computer.
Slower, but it works.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well, we will pick this up next week with you guys going to the shindig on Tobia with the Duke. And there will be some interesting revelations that will happen at the shindig as well.
All right. Well, thank you very much. It was fun.
All right.
You're welcome. Have a good night, guys. I'll see you next week at 7 o'clock.
Take care.
See you tomorrow.
Have a good night.